Welcome to Kentucky Gunslingers, and here we have a Colt Python, which is one of Colt's signature handguns. This, uh, for many years, was considered the pinnacle of revolvers, or the Cadillac, one of the highest end that you could get. Very reliable, very great shooter, extremely accurate, all around great pistol. So the Colt Python 357 Magnum is what caliber this is. The Colt Python actually the Colt started producing it in the mid 50s, ran that production with some variants along the way where they made it in 38 special. Only they also had several different variants of what they called snake guns, where you had the Anaconda, you had the Diamondback, the Cobra, the King Cobra, etc., which all kind of stemmed from this line as well. The Python ran from the mid 50s all the way to the late 90s in true production, and then after that, from the late 90s into the early 2000s, they were built by Colt's custom shop under the moniker of Python Elite, and there's a small number of those. This one happens to be a Python Elite from 2003. You can see on the barrel it's stamped Python Elite 357 Magnum. 4-inch barrel, stainless steel, beautiful, beautiful wood hand grips, which are combat grips, so the hand fits really nice into the grip on this pistol. Single action and double action with the vented top, as you can see, and across the top of the barrel. Full rib across the bottom. As I said, it's nice grip. Feels really great in the hand. Very heavy too. Adjustable sights. We'll talk a little bit about there's a con to it, which I have personally never experienced, but some have. I've shot a number of Pythons over the years, and I've had no issues with them. So here's a couple of things that I can tell you about it. Number one, fairly heavy pistol unloaded. Double action, single action. I know I pulled the hammer back, but this is not loaded. 6 shots, 357 Magnum. We'll shoot 38 specials just like any other 357 Magnum will. Recoil on it, even though it's a heavier piece, shorter barrel, so there is some muzzle flip to get used to on this. It does come back on you a little bit with a powerful shell like the 357 Magnum. I would say trigger-wise, this is one of the smoothest triggers you're going to find on a revolver. It is more of like that Cadillac type of piece where it's very reliable, very smooth, even double action. So you get a nice beat on your target before the hammer comes down. Overall, I have no complaints about it. The number one con that I've seen about these over the years is that on double action, they can experience something called a timing issue, where the cylinder doesn't time just right with the hammer. You can see this runs off a transfer bar style safety, which Colt developed for the Trooper as well as a number of other handguns as well. Very common nowadays. But on double action, it'll come back and the cylinder doesn't exactly time when the hammer falls. And that can cause either one of two things. Some spray out of the side, which all revolvers have. That percussion, it has to go somewhere. So it does come out of the front of the cylinder on revolvers. But if it's not timed right, you could be dealing with maybe a little bit of pieces of lead could come out onto the arms, or more commonly hot just particles from the powder itself. The other issue with timing is if it doesn't time right at all, it could completely miss the primer. So it may not even discharge. Those are the two issues that I've mainly heard. Other than that, and like I stated earlier, I've had no personal issues with this pistol or any other Python for that matter. And I've shot this one a decent amount, which we'll do a shooting video on it here in the future. And it's great. Really accurate. Love the adjustable sights. Also, getting a little older, so I kind of appreciate that tip, that orange tip on the front sight there. It's nice. I've known people who've used whiteout or, various paints in order to tip their own. This one was like this factory. Really nice gun overall. I do tend to prefer 6-inch barrels, but I can say that I've been really comfortable with this in 4-inch. Do love it. I do have a Smith in 4-inch as well that I really like. But this one, I would say, shoots even better than that. Really accurate. I've had actually really strong results with it at 25, 35 yards. So that I've been real happy with that. I will say that current state, I do treat it more as a safe queen, and I know a lot of people do with these as well. They have been increasingly harder to find over the years, even though in early 2020, late 2019, Colt started producing the Python again, which is in production now, and it runs somewhere around $1,500-$1,600. So not the cheapest production revolver on earth. And now with the current pandemic, as well as other issues with production and such, and potential changes in regulations, ammunition and firearms are increasingly harder to find because demand's over top of supply. So it's even harder to find a current production Python. These older ones still tend to have a pretty inflated price tag on them. You'll see them online or in auctions or on gun shops and such for easily $2,000-$3,000, which is quite a bit for something if you wanted to actually really carry it. This is obviously not a carry type of piece. It is more of something that shoot less, maybe shoot a little bit, and hold on to it. This one's in great shape. I have seen a few others like it that are 4-inch that are actually immaculate, where this one did have a few nicks and such on it. But overall, you can tell it's beautiful. So with that, just reiterate strengths. I would say accuracy, trigger pull's awesome, double action's really smooth. I do like the weight. It's not the lightest revolver, but it's also not one that's going to drag your belt all the way down to the ground. Muzzle flip on it does exist, 4-inch barrel, that's very common. That rib definitely helps with especially with the top flute as well. It adds a little weight to the front of it. Cons, from what I've heard, I've never experienced it myself with a number of Pythons that I've had the honor and opportunity to fire, is on double action. After several rounds, you could experience a cylinder timing issue, which could cause some spray of debris to come out of the front or a complete misfire in general. With that, I would say overall, Colt Python I'm a big fan of. It's great, and I know it has its spot in American culture and legend with a number of TV shows and video games and such that it's been a part of, as well as just being a venerable shooter, a very nice, beautiful pistol to look at. So with that, feel free to subscribe and leave any comments in the field below. Thanks. Take care.